In this video, we are going over how to program your subconscious mind in order to get what you want. That's coming up next. Hi guys, my name is Dave and this is HeartSpace. If you are new here, where we are releasing videos every single day to help you live life more in your way. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you don't miss any of the content on a daily basis that we release. Now today I want to talk about the subconscious mind because I've mentioned this before, but when it comes to self-development, I think one of the most important and one of the most impactful things you can do is to influence your subconscious mind so that you can manifest the things that you want and start living in the way that you want. So many people are trying to, influence matter with matter. A mentor of mine said it's like you're getting a Lego brick that life's getting you and you're trying to twist the Lego brick into shape instead of walking into the Lego brick factory and having a whole new design created. And walking into the Lego brick factory is like influencing your subconscious mind, and trying to mold the already made Lego brick is like trying to just use your conscious mind to influence everything around you. And so today we're going to be going over how to program the subconscious, the thing that makes up 95% of your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions as you go throughout the day. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on. Let's get into it. Before we get started, guys, I want you to write in the comments, I have subconscious mastery. We've done this one a few times on different videos, but again, the more you write this out, the more you repeat it, the more you see this as what you are, the more likely it is this is going to get into your subconscious. And by actually typing it out, actually taking some action on this video, you are making it way more likely that that belief is going to stick. So make sure you write, I have subconscious mastery, along with anything else you want to comment down below. So guys, again, the first thing to recognize about the subconscious mind is it influences 95% of our life, or at least 90 to 95% of our life. We are usually operating from the subconscious programming we have running in the background. How many times a day do you daydream or kind of zone out and you're not even aware of what's going on with your own thoughts, your own words, your own actions? Have you ever done something and you wonder, why did I do that? I reached out for that thing, or I just took that action, I walked to the fridge, whatever it is, without even thinking about it. That's because you are operating from your subconscious mind at that current point. Your conscious mind are those moments when you're completely present, you're completely aware of what you're doing, you're completely aware that you're the one doing it. But most of the time we're operating from this subconscious place. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think this can be an incredible thing if you program your subconscious in the right way. Another thing that research has showed us is that you have about 70 to 80,000 different thoughts a day. And those thoughts, the 70 to 80,000 different thoughts that you have on a daily basis, 90 to 95% of those thoughts are the same that you had yesterday. And so what's the significance of this? Why is that important? It's like, okay, great. So I have the same thoughts every single day. So what? Well, here's so what. If you are someone who has mainly negative thoughts, if you're someone who's incredibly pessimistic, skeptical, and negative, then every single day you are reinforcing those beliefs into your subconscious mind because you are having 70 to 80,000 of those thoughts every single day. This is why it's so powerful when someone shifts their perspective, they shift their identity, because with a new identity comes new thoughts. And now suddenly they're having 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day that are more positive, based on abundance, based on wealth, giving them a whole new perspective that brings whole new circumstances into their life. And so it's important to keep this in mind. The reason we want to go for the subconscious here instead of just trying to influence the conscious, because you can say affirmations all day long, and I do encourage doing things like that, but that's only going to influence 5% of you. And if you look at the universe, it flows consistently. So whatever's being done consistently is what you're going to get. So if 90 to 95% of the time your subconscious is running in the background playing negative patterns, that's what you're going to get. And that's why we need to influence the subconscious, reprogram it to serve us so that on autopilot, we're more positive. On autopilot, we're thinking thoughts of abundance. On autopilot, we're looking at the evidence that the universe is working in our favor. So let's go over how you're actually going to do this. Essentially, what we want to do is hypnotize ourselves, actually brainwash ourselves. Now, a lot of people hear that and go why would I do that? Brainwashing is such a bad thing. Conditioning myself, that sounds awful. Why would I do that? Whenever I hear brainwashing, I think of secret CIA tactics of MK Ultra and all that crap. It's no, that's not what I'm talking about here. You are being brainwashed one way or another. You were conditioned when you were younger through suggestion, through suggestion by other people, and then eventually auto-suggestion, which means you suggested it to yourself based on those old patterns you were given. And so you have in one way or another been brainwashed. But why not take control of the brainwashing process in order to brainwash yourself in a way that you want? Because again, your subconscious is going to be running. It's always going to be running. It's running 24 hours a day, and it is dictating about 90 to 95% of your life. So if you can brainwash your subconscious to the point where it's serving you, then I would say that's a very positive form of brainwashing and will nullify the previous brainwashing that you have gone through. So a few things that you can do. Number one is meditation. Nothing is going to help you access your subconscious than getting into a more meditative state. You can look at the research of people like Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza that go over this. When you're in different brainwave states, the barrier from your conscious to your subconscious mind actually opens up. You see, we're in what's called a beta state most of the time in our waking hours. And a beta state relies or is shown to have very fast brainwaves. And when you have fast brainwaves, that barrier between the subconscious and conscious is harder to penetrate. You're in this beta place, you're more alert to stress, you have more of your subconscious running, you're kind of all over the place, you're more dense, you're more matter, as Dr. Joe Dispenza would put it. But when you slow the energy down, when you go into these other brainwave states with slower energy, when you get into the alpha state, the theta, and the delta state, you are now suddenly slowing your energy down to a point where you can actually influence your subconscious. And this is why meditation is incredibly important, because meditation is the act, there's many different ways you can meditate, but one of the things about meditation that it does is it slows your brainwaves to these other states of theta and delta and alpha as well, depending on what you want to do. Now, alpha has to do with very intense focus, being able to get into deep work, so to speak. So this may not be something you're going to do in order to completely influence your subconscious mind, but it's a great thing to look into if you want to be very focused and get things done and actually get into flow and things of that nature. But theta is really the brainwave state we want to aim for here. It is the very meditative brainwave state where things are slowing down, where you have direct access to your subconscious, where you're sitting there and your thoughts have pretty much cleared out. Because these thoughts, you have to understand, have energy attached to them. They have a wave attached to them. And so the more thoughts you have buzzing around, the more likely it is you're in a beta brainwave state. And when you're in that beta brainwave state, you're so concerned about all of these thoughts and everything like that, that there's no way you're going to be able to influence your subconscious mind the way that you want. You're too focused on the outward stuff, on the thoughts. But if you can slow that process down, if you can allow those thoughts to just clear out, not try and force them out, but just allow them to clear out and just be with yourself in silence, be with yourself in space, you will have a much more direct access to your subconscious. So here's a technique you can do, a very, 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 very simple law of attraction meditation technique that you can do that I've learned pretty recently. And I heard a story, I think Dr. Joe Vitale mentioned this story of how someone went from homeless to a billionaire. And this was one of the tactics that he used, one of the meditations. So the first thing is get present. Like I said, you're going to sit and you're going to get present in the moment. You're going to allow your thoughts to fade away. You're just going to observe and allow them to fade away. And if you observe long enough, you can get good at this to the point where you can do it in just a few minutes. But if you observe long enough, they will fade away if you don't attach yourself to the thoughts. So the first thing is get present. Get into the moment. Step one. Step two is you are going to start feeling the emotion or the frequency that you want to be living on. So for example, you will think of love. Most of us at the end of the day, guess what? We do things because ultimately we want love. So instead of doing all these things to get love, why not tap into it immediately? So what you're going to do is you're going to get into the moment, clear your mind, and then you are going to, after you've done that and you realize, okay, my mind is blank, I'm pretty clear right now, I've cleared out the clutter. Now you are going to think, visualize, picture something that makes you just feel so much love. I mean, those things that make you just smile when you think about them. You just feel like a little kid when you think about them because it just fills you up with so much love in just this effortless way. Maybe you think of a family member. Maybe you think of a time with a loved one. For me, I think of a lot of times with my girlfriend or playful moments that I've had in other situations. And I can think of these moments and I just feel a rush of love. Just for thinking of this thing, and I'll visualize it and I will just get and surround myself with the emotion of love. And remember, emotion is energy in motion. So you are bringing a new energy into yourself now, right? You've cleared out the old, you've gotten present, and you're bringing in love. And you can bring in abundance, you can bring in whatever, but think of this good feeling picture, this good feeling thought, And you're going to now focus on that, just really absorbing that energy, really aligning yourself to that energy. Okay, so that's step 2. First, get present. Step 2, feel the energy. And now third, you are going to visualize the outcome, the life that you want. And this is now when you're going to be able to impress upon your subconscious mind what it is you want. You are now essentially giving the floppy disk to your subconscious. You are giving the disk to your subconscious of the program that you want. You are basically now saying, hey man, I know I haven't really communicated with you too much. I figured out how to now, and this is what I want us to be running. This is what I want us to be doing. And now you can visualize yourself living the life that you truly want. See yourself as the person you want to be, the loving, caring, abundant, wealthy, happy individual you want to be. You could see yourself with millions of dollars running an incredible business that's helping the world. Or maybe you're doing something else. Maybe you're an athlete. Whatever it is, you are going to then visualize that dream life, that dream goal of yourself. And again, what you're doing now, I know this seems a bit bizarre, but because you've taken those first 2 steps, because you've slowed your brain waves down, you've slowed your state down, you've gotten into the present moment, you've now access to your subconscious mind, now you've put yourself in the energy of love or a high vibration. You now have even more access to that subconscious that is now listening to you because all the clutter's gone, all the thoughts are gone. You are now have direct access to your subconscious, and now you are directly communicating to your subconscious by saying, look, here's what I want. You are giving it the pictures of what you want. You are saying, look, in this very powerful state we're in right now, this is what I have. This is what I want. And when you visualize this thing, visualize it as if it's already done. Visualize not as if it's some future thing. You need to feel it as if it's happening at this very moment. Visualize it as if you are experiencing it in this very moment. And the trick to it is you actually are. When you align with the feeling, you are actually feeling what it's like to be whatever it is you're visualizing. That's why, so many people, they don't realize, but they're visualizing all these negative things, and then they start living that way. The external world eventually catches up to them, but you could also do this from the positive frame as well. And so if you keep repeating these steps, you just, again, every single day, you get present, you bring in the emotion of love. And I mean, you're feeling it so much that maybe even tears are welling up in your eyes. I mean, I really want you to feel it. Or you're just smiling from ear to ear because you're just feeling it so strongly. That is the moment you start actually trying to communicate with your subconscious, giving it the program that you actually want. And this practice is incredibly powerful, guys, and this is how you start to reprogram your subconscious. Now, are there other things you could do? Yes, monitor your thoughts. Now, I said the easier way, again, is doing this consciously, is one way to do it, as you're going throughout your day. But it is still, and I still think doing the meditation is much more effective, but it is still important to catch yourself. Because again, you are still habitualized to think a certain way. So if you see certain thoughts come up, you have certain pictures running in your mind, and that's not who you want to be, you need to change them. It comes down to that. If you're thinking of thoughts and you're going down a negative spiral, you need to either go immediately into this meditation, get present, feel love, and you can do it within 5 minutes if you can do a quick one if you want. You can do a longer one if you want as well. But immediately interrupt that pattern. And the more times you interrupt that pattern, you bring about presence and love, and then again, give the floppy disk to your subconscious of what you really want. Give it the program that you really want to be running. The more you can do that, the more you will influence your subconscious mind. And guys, this can actually lead to incredible changes pretty quickly. It can lead to synchronicities pretty quickly. It's an incredible, incredible, incredible technique. And again, I gave you the example of the guy who went from $0 homeless, not just $0, like homeless, to a billionaire, by using techniques of this nature, of using certain strategies to communicate with his subconscious and tell it and give it the program that he wanted to actually run in his life. Ultimately, guys, remember this. You can even type this in the comments, edit. I know you put I have subconscious mastery, but also put this down there if you've got this far. If you actually put this down there, it lets me know you've gotten this far. I always like to know who's actually committed and who's not, who's actually listening, who's paying attention, who's applying. And I want you to also put down there, the universe flows consistently. The universe flows consistently, because guys, one of the most important things to recognize when it comes to reprogram your subconscious, or just the way you're going to be, is the universe doesn't care, what you want. The universe cares about what you are. And so if you are consistently applying this tactic, doing the meditation, reprogramming your subconscious, you will get the results of that. If you show up, you can think of it this way, if you show up to the garden of your mind, or you have a garden in your backyard and you water and nurture the garden, guess what's going to happen? It will grow. But if you don't consistently water the garden, if you're out there maybe once a week watering it, or you're neglecting it or forgetting about it and just letting it happen in the background, which is how most people treat their subconscious, by the way, they just let it run on its own. They just let the stimulus of the environment shape it, and they just let it run on autopilot. But if you do that to a garden, it will die. It will still be there, but it will be barren land. There'll be some weeds. There'll be things you don't want growing in that garden. But in the same way that if you go to that garden every single day and you consistently water it and you pluck out the weeds and you give it the seeds that you actually want, give it the program that it wants. You're giving it the seeds which you want. You want an apple tree. You want some flowers. You want certain vegetables, and you're giving that to the garden. And you're like, look, I'm going to come here and water you, and I'm going to leave the rest up to you, because that's how it works. It's co-creative. If you do that, you'll have an incredibly beautiful, lush garden before long. And so the same is going to be with your subconscious. If you consistently come back as often as you can to water the garden, to deweed it, to give it the seeds that you actually want in your life, that's the fruit you will start to grow. But if you don't come to it consistently, if you consistently neglect it, you will have something that's neglected, and you will get the results of that. So just keep remembering that. One last thing I'll give you guys is to look into the works of Dr. Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton in particular, because they talk about these kind of things very often and will give you even more things you can work with when it comes to reprogramming the subconscious mind, getting over the habit of being yourself, and so on. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I very much enjoyed creating this. I really hope that you've gotten to the end. Again, put "the universe flows" consistently in the comments along with the other comment if you did, to let me know that you did, and also to remind you that that is how the universe works. It does flow consistently. As always, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.